Welcome back to the Dual Purpose podcast. If this is your first time here, my name is Latoya. I'm your host and the founder of Dual Purpose. We are a community of women who are discovering purpose, sharing faith and inspiration for the journey. So if you're interested in that type of content, come and join our growing family by clicking the links in the description of this video or podcast if you're listening on Spotify and iTunes. Now, I'm really excited about today's video because I get to interview the lovely Vanessa. She'll be sharing with us how faith and fashion are synonymous and how we can use fashion as ways to express our confidence and also to develop in self-love. So if you're in a place where you're looking at capsule wardrobes, you're wondering if you need to just completely throw everything out and start all over again, or you're wondering what are the in colors for 2022, we've got you covered. So get yourself a drink and let's talk. So welcome to the Dual Purpose podcast, Vanessa. Thank you so much for being here today. And just before we get started, could you please tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, so mine is Vanessa. I am, what am I? Fashionista. I'm a new teacher. So I just started teaching a couple of years ago. But yeah, I love fashion. So formerly I was a personal stylist. I still do that. A lot of blogging about fashion and faith. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. So where can people find your blog?
Okay, so you can be found by just typing in Start with V. That will come up. I'm also on Instagram and also on Facebook as well. In Start with V everywhere, so you'll find me there.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll get those links and I'll make sure to put them in the description so people can find you, which is, I think is great what you're doing. But just before we get into the actual discussion today, I do have a couple of quick fire questions that you haven't had time to prepare for. I promise they're nothing too
Okay.
difficult. So we'll start nice and easy. Could you tell us your favorite color?
Purple.
Okay. Oh, it's mine
Any
too.
shade of. Okay,
Yay!
nice. Any shade of purple.
Okay. And what's your favorite food?
um, anything with carbs. So does it have to just be one, or can it be more than one?
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So rice is my favorite. Anything with apples in, so apple pie, apple crumble, apple
Oh yes.
strudel. Yeah. So those are my things. Anything carby, I'm good.
You're
Yeah.
speaking my language. I love apple crumble. And you mentioned that you wear different hats, so you're newly qualified or fairly newly qualified as a teacher. Could you tell us if that isn't your biggest achievement, what is your biggest achievement?
Oh, what would be my biggest achievement? There are a few of them, but I'll amalgamate them into one. So I would say going into industry, and I've worked at Black Beauty and Hair magazine, New
Mm,
magazine, and also working at Marks and Spencer. I'd say those would be one of my biggest achievements. Yeah,
awesome.
to them.
Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
the final question is, what's the best advice that you've been given?
The best advice I was given by someone many years ago, and they said, reach for the moon. I think it's a quote. And if you do not reach for the moon, you'll land among the stars.
Ah, I love it. See, I
Yeah.
think that's that teacher side in you,
Yeah.
encouraging people to reach and be the best that they can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for being a good sport. And just to get us into the interview, so you've spoken about the different organizations you've worked for. Could you just tell us a little bit about your journey and how you actually got into the world of fashion?
I always knew that I wanted a job in fashion, but I didn't know what it was. I've always been creative. I love making things. So whether it be out of paper, being on the sewing machine, painting, I've always loved being creative. So from when I was at secondary school, I knew that I wanted to go into fashion and textiles when I went to uni. And then it's only when I went into industry. So we had to do like at least a month's work of work placements.
Mhm.
Some people actually had that as a degree, but I decided that I can't afford another year because it was another degree again to pay for. So I'm just going to do it over the summer and any holidays that I had. So that's only when I went into industry. So I was working, as I said before, with M&S at their head office, with New Magazine, and I was working with fashion and Black Beauty and Hair. And I've also worked in Birmingham as well. It's called Talent 2009. With a lady called Daniela, and
Mhm.
that's when I realized that, oh yeah, this is what I want to do for as long as possible. But then I just continued to work with as many people in the industry as I could. Yeah, and then it just grew from there, really.
Mm. So one of the things I believe is that fashion is a way of expressing yourself, and you'll find that people subconsciously dress the way that they feel. So if you wear lots of dark colors, not just as a one-off, but just continuously, usually that's a reflection of how you're feeling. Lots of bright colors you'll find in the summer when people feel happier. That's what they tend to go for. So. Would you say that you use fashion as a way to express yourself and maybe express how you're feeling as well?
Yeah, definitely do. I feel that fashion is such a great way to express yourself, and it's really powerful if you can do it correctly and rightly. So, as you said, it can easily affect your mood. It can change the mood of others also.
Mm,
So very rarely I'll wear lots of dark clothes. I'll wear as much colour as possible, wearing bright colours. And I've also of late been wearing lots of logo tops or logo jumpers that actually say a message like positive vibes, or
mm,
there was one I was wearing that was like you are enough. And that's my way of saying something with actually opening my mouth and just sharing it quite silently. So that's been my favourite thing to do. And wearing bright colours, I'll wear it for myself because I want to brighten my mood or change my mood, and I'll wear it for others as well because you don't know
mm,
what kind of thing they're going through. And I'll be in school and I've probably got some red trousers on, like, oh miss, you look very bright today. And you don't know what you're doing subconsciously for that other person. So yeah, I just try and encourage through what I'm wearing. And if I've got a message to share that I don't actually want to verbalize it, it might be
mm,
on my clothes somehow. So yeah.
mm. I love that because I just remembered a couple of Sundays ago, I wore a bright yellow top to church, and somebody looked at me and smiled and said, "You've literally just brightened up the room." And,
Yeah.
it's just things like that yeah, your clothing can affect other people and make them smile. So, yeah, I think that's great. But another thing, so on this channel, we are very big on self-love, self-care, self-discovery, and all of those types of topics. Would you say that fashion is synonymous with self-love?
Yeah, I think it definitely is. I mean, you can literally change the way you feel, you can change your style with how you're feeling as well. So I think
Mm,
it's definitely synonymous. It's a great way to, show yourself self-love and do
mm.
for others as well.
Yeah. And when people say things like, if you're feeling sad, for example, play happy music. Do you think that fashion does the same? So if you are feeling sad, naturally people will go for those dark colors that reflect that mood. But do you think choosing some of the brighter colors can actually help to lift the mood as well?
Yeah, definitely. As I said before, color is definitely a good way to change your mood. There is a lot of psychological effects that it can do.
Mm,
For instance, wearing yellow or wearing red or wearing a bright blue can really change the mood. It's quite interesting when you actually start experimenting with all those different colors and wearing it.
hmm. So would you say there's a time when fashion has helped you with confidence? Because I think that's another thing fashion really does help us with.
Yeah, there was a time when I think it was at uni, and I've always had a sense of style, but I thought that I needed to change it to fit in with the crowd, and I started
Mm,
wearing a couple of short skirts, and I was just like, I really don't feel right wearing this. And I started to go on anywhere. I was just like, this is what I like to wear. This is my style. I
mhm.
visualized it. I made mood boards, and I was just like, this is what I'm comfortable with. So yeah, it definitely helped me with my confidence and almost boosted it as well, and just been happy with my sense of style as well. So yeah.
Mm. So for anybody listening to this, you've just mentioned mood boards, and they may be thinking, what is a mood board? How do I create one? Could you just tell us how you created one or how somebody could create a mood board?
Yeah, so a mood board is basically just a visual aid of expressing how you feel, or if there's something you wanted to go for. So I make mood boards for my clients and also for myself. So it's getting images from either different places that you look online. Maybe you've got a celebrity and you like the look of that style or the look that they create, and it's just putting it all in one place, and you look at that every day, and you kind of take inspiration. So maybe there was a certain outfit that you really liked, maybe you could emulate that. So yeah, it's just a visual way or a visual representation of where you want to be.
Mhm. Okay, that's great. So, yeah, anybody who wants to create a mood board, I think that's a really great idea because there's definitely something that's so powerful about seeing what you're trying to become to help you on that journey. But another thing that you spoke about earlier that I just want to touch on is when you went to uni and you started dressing in a way that you weren't really comfortable. And yes, we could look at it as experimenting, but actually, from what you said, it sounds like it was more looking what other people was doing and trying to fit in. And I've recently done another interview, and we were talking about the effect of social media and how, sometimes you will see somebody that looks like they have this amazing life and they've got it all together. And you can end up putting yourself in debt trying to keep up with the Joneses and look like the lifestyle that somebody else is portraying, which may be or may not be real. So I think with fashion as well, that's another thing. I mean, on Instagram, for example, constantly in front of you. So, what
Yeah.
advice would you give to somebody who is in that place where they're looking online, social media, TV, magazines, and thinking, I want to dress like that? I know it's not really me, but that's what I have to do to fit in. What advice would you give to that person?
I think it just comes back to what we were talking about before about self love and really knowing who you are and being your
Mm,
true, authentic self. So you have to almost do backwards work and say, hang on a minute, what do I really like? Yes, we can take inspiration from celebrities and what we see on social media, but we're only seeing the good parts of what they're showing. So we're not seeing, maybe they're not even happy with what they're wearing, or maybe they're doing it to fit in with the crowd. So I think we also have to go back to basics and find out what we really like, and just being authentic in what we truly enjoy. There's nothing wrong with taking inspiration, but at the end of the day, you have to own what you're wearing. So, yeah.
mm, yeah. And there are some people who maybe feel like, so for example, let's say they want to create a mood board and they're looking at all these amazing styles and they're thinking, I would love to dress like that, but I just don't have the confidence. Whether it's just not feeling that you have the ideal body shape and that type of
Mhm.
thing. So again, what advice would you give to that young lady, or that child, that girl, that woman, who just feels like I really do want to become this person where I'm confident enough to dress a certain way. I just don't have the confidence right now.
So I'd say the first thing, obviously, we'd make that mood board and visualize your dream style. And then the next from that, I would say, is just start small. So maybe if you, I don't know, if you didn't wear the color blue and you feel that the color blue would be right for you, there's actually color wheels where you can know what colors will work with you better. But if you wanted to start small, so you could say, okay, maybe I'm going to wear trousers today and see how I feel, and then just build up from that. And it's speaking positively over yourself, and you're saying, I am beautiful, I look good in this, and asking trusted people for their
Mm,
advice as well. So I think the first thing is to have that visualization of your dream style, and then just starting small and then just working from there. But
mm,
making sure that you're speaking good about yourself first. Otherwise, whatever you put on is not going to work. So, yeah.
yeah. That's so important. I am definitely a fan of words of affirmations because I think it really does help us. And, sometimes as women, certain times we just don't feel great. But actually speaking those positive words over ourselves really can help to lift our mood. And one thing that you said that I really like is that you were encouraging people to start small. And I think that's so important because it's not about going out and spending hundreds of pounds on buying a whole new wardrobe. You can actually do this gradually, and that's something that I've been doing, is just buying a few things here and there. And you can mix and match, unless it's your preference to never wear the same outfit. There are some people who choose to never wear the same outfit twice, but actually you can mix and match. So one thing I was looking at recently, I decided not to do it, but capsule wardrobes. I don't know if that's something
Yeah.
that you can maybe touch on because it's a very popular topic at the moment. So could you just tell maybe somebody who wants to create a capsule wardrobe how to go about doing that?
Yeah, so capsule wardrobe is really good because you got your basic pieces that will last you for almost the whole year if you really wanted to. So it's going for basic pieces like tops. So you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be working mainly off neutral colors. So you're not adding in any bright colors to this. So it'd just be like your nudes, blacks, and your navies. So it would be maybe two tops, maybe it would be three trousers, or maybe three dresses, and you just rotate those. And then obviously once the seasons come and maybe it's summer and spring, then you'd add in a few drops of color. And then obviously for the winter, you would add a few things in for your winter clothes, maybe a nice jacket that's a different color from what you've got in the capsule wardrobe. So it's just basic pieces that would last you for like half the year or the year if you wanted to. So that is what basically a capsule wardrobe is.
And it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg, because
No.
I'm conscious that people are in different places. You know, there are those who maybe can afford to spend £100 on a skirt, and there are those who maybe just have £100 and actually want to buy a couple of different items. So I think it's just great to really bear that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm a fan of spending less. That's one of the things that I really shout about is getting quality over quantity, because there's a lot of fast fashion around, and when you look at the quality, it's not great, and it's also not very sustainable. So I'm really hot on sustainable fashion. I've got things that are 5 years old, 6 years old, and they still fit well. So it's all about quality as well.
Yeah, definitely. So as we are coming into the summer and spring months, which is my kind of season,
Yeah.
what would you say for us women? What would you say is the in thing right now? What should we be looking to purchase if we want to just add a couple of bits to our wardrobe?
Okay, so we're going to be very excited about this because we both like purple. So lilac is very much in. So lilac is the color of the year. So that's really nice. And polka dot is still going to be in, so that's the main thing, and green also. So the bright bottle green and lilac would look really nice together. So anything in those colors will be good to go for.
Okay, so anybody watching or listening, if you are going to try these colors that Vanessa's just mentioned, make sure to tag her when you post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
So again, I'll put her Instagram handle in the description, and also tag J.E.W.E.L Purpose. We want to see you in these beautiful
Yeah.
summer colors. So you mentioned your blog, and I really just want to touch on that. So what type of things can we expect on your blog? What do you talk about? And for anybody who maybe want to find out more about what you do.
Yeah. So my Insta would be blog. Basically I talk about fashion and faith. So amalgamation of those. I also show people how to shop for less, because I'm a big believer that you don't need to spend a lot to look good. And it's also hacks as well. So little tips and tricks on how we make our wardrobe go further with what we've got and how to use what we've got for different occasions. So that's really me.
Okay, so you mentioned fashion and faith. I'm really interested to find out a bit more about that, because I think in previous years those two topics just, people
Mm.
didn't talk about them together, and there was this perception in the church that Christians shouldn't be into fashion. But you've managed to actually amalgamate the two. So how do you do that, and what does fashion and faith mean to you?
Fashion and faith is just spreading the love of Jesus Christ, my faith in God, and also making sure that what we're wearing is not a stumbling block to anybody else. So I'm making sure that I'm covering modesty as well, because my demographic is probably about 18 to maybe about 30. So I
Mm-hmm.
do cover that as well. Yeah, so it's just making sure that whatever we do, that we've got God in the midst. That's me.
Okay. Well, shameless plug. So I do have a clothing line as well, the Dual Purpose clothing line.
Oh, okay.
And you were speaking about those logo items, and that's what we do. So we've got t-shirts and jackets and jumpers and bags and mugs and all of that have logos on, and their scriptures, because I believe that, as you just rightly said, there's so many different ways that we can spread the gospel. And I think fashion is a powerful way of doing that, having a logo item that somebody can look at and actually wonder, okay, what does that mean, and ask the questions. So yeah, I think what you're doing is really amazing, and I really do hope that people will check out your website and your Instagram page just for some more inspiration. But just on that note, Vanessa, can you leave us with either your favorite scripture or an encouraging scripture for our listeners today?
So my favorite scripture is Philippians 4:13. So it's I can do all things, but it's through Christ that strengthens me.
Amen. Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I pray that God will continue to bless everything that you're doing as you continue to be a blessing and an inspiration to everybody else.
Great. Thank you for having me, Latoya.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.